house with O'Con. Hey, O'Con in your house. I did wood in your house. Hypocrisy's had in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Come to us for your news and opinions. We got a voice. There is no choice. We're some boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast just like cruiserweight action. Your house is the perfect distraction. Papa see your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.
What's up, guys? What's cracking? The comment, and I'm in your house. We here. We're ready to make a movie. I hope you guys are ready to make a movie. I hope you guys are with the shits. We're with the shits. We're ready to talk a little pro wrestling. That's right. You already know the vibe. Anytime we fight on through, we're here to give you that work when it comes to this professional wrestling business. And guys, we are back. And I gotta go ahead and issue you guys here a public apology. I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. I didn't give you guys my solo shot on Monday Night Raw. I usually give it to you on Tuesdays. But it's cool. All right. It's fine. All right. Actually, you know what? I'm not sorry. I'm not even sorry. All right. I gave you guys that Dijak interview. Did you guys check that out, man? That was a heavy situation this past Monday. Donovan Dijak coming to In Your House. He gave us a really good episode. We appreciate all the downloads and the feedback on that. It was great. And man, it's not gonna stop, y'all. It's not stopping. All right, we're gonna keep going. It's not stopping. We got OVW's Big Zoe. He's gonna be coming on the show. Myself and the voice, Josh Joseph. We talked to him at House of Heat Wrestling in Lafayette, Indiana. And then next Friday, we have ECW legend Bill Alfonso, the manager of champions. He talked to us. We had a little drop in from Sandman. Hey, yo, Sandman was lit. All right. He was having a good time. And hey, we had a good time too talking to Bill Alfonso. But now being here, you know, we've been really moving and shaking. We've hit the charts again. We're getting downloads heavy again, and we're growing, you know, and with growth, it comes evolution. You know, it's a great thing. And, you know, I've put out there on my social media that I was looking for female co-host, and you know, just because we want that different perspective. Women are doing great things in the industry right now. It's, I mean, just what in like the last 10 years, the women's revolution has just been really great. I mean, we're seeing great talents come up. We're seeing legendary talents come up, but it's not just the wrestlers in the ring. It's not, you know, we have great ring announcers. We have great backstage commentators. You know, people rave all the time about them all the time. When Renee Young was out, everybody loved her work, you know, and I still enjoy Renee Young. You know, you have ladies like Kayla Braxton, you know, you have them and so much different things that they bring to the industry that make things different, make things interesting, make us look at it a different way. And I think that's a great thing. It's a great time right now, I think, to bring women into the industry and bring them into the light. And with that being said, I'm looking to grow talent. I was searching out, and you know, I had this lady come, and she, you know what? She left me a novel in my inbox. Okay. An absolute novel in there. And I sat up there and read the whole thing, and I was like, yo, I can already tell she is a vibe. And, you know, getting a chance to talk to her a little bit more, that's what I noticed. And that's what I saw. But I also saw somebody who was on the grind, somebody who is hungry, somebody who is honestly gonna go out and get it on her own. She's not looking for anybody to give it to her. She's looking for opportunity, and that's exactly what I'm looking to give here as I welcome Divinely Designed Annie O'Neal to In Your House. How's it going?
What's up, everyone? I am the Divinely Designed Annie O'Neal, and I am excited to bring my amazing feminine flair to In Your House. We're gonna get raw with Raw and NXT, and I am in your house.
That is
so
awesome.
Heck
yeah, we're excited to have you. We really are, man. Like I said, you or somebody that you have that background that we talked about before we went on the air and talked like in the inbox and everything like that. And I'm like, wow, like it was a great resume. So like, if I could have you, could I get you to like kind of tell the household who you are? Who is Annie O'Neal?
You know, household, my name's Annie, and I've been a professional ring announcer since 2019. You know, I was the person who showed up to shows way longer before my point in time came about. And then someone handed me a microphone and was like, "You need to do this." And I said, "Yes, I do. I need that microphone. I have a voice that needs to be heard and I need to share it." And then that transferred over into being a backstage correspondent. I I even host my own wrestling podcast, my indie spotlight called Bumpin' and Thumpin'. And the present just it wrote itself, and I showed up for opportunities, put myself in places I wasn't sure I was meant to be, and I just I answered the call. That's the best thing you can do, is just show up for yourself. And if you feel afraid that you can't do that, that's your potential wanting you to seize it. You just gotta go for it. That's it. That's it.
I'm a firm believer that sometimes the best ability is availability.
Sure.
You just got to be there in the pocket. And like I said, now is a great time in the industry, for women and many different facets. Like I didn't even mention Samantha Irvin and the impact that she's had as a ring announcer with the WWE. And then we're seeing like Asia Smith and great referees like that. And it's so many of them. There's so many of them that come into prominence, and it's great to see. So now we're looking to grow the next generation of like wrestling media. And like I do, like when it's crazy because I didn't do ring announcing, but I really started out with commentary. I did commentary for some promotions and then transitioned to being a manager. Shout out to Sam Knight for giving me that first opportunity. I was a manager for almost like 2 years, and then I went back to the table, and I love it. I do color commentary with Emerge Wrestling.
Very cool.
I'll do backstage correspondence with Wrestle Arts. I've worked for Naptown Pro, OVW, Heroes and Legends. It goes on and on. I've worked for so many different promotions, and it's great. It's great. But now at this stage, I'm looking to give back and looking to grow that talent. So that's exactly why you're here, Annie. We're about to see what's the deal with Annie O'Neal, because we're going to talk a little Monday Night Raw.
I'm here. Let's go.
All right.
You put it out there. Let's go.
All right. Sounds good. So you're ready. You're ready to go. You're ready to tap into this and jump right into it and jump into the thick of things. Somebody who was ready to jump into the thick of things returning to Monday Night Raw was Rhea Ripley, as she showed up. Oh man. The situation that Dominic Mysterio is in, typically a man would be happy to be in that type of situation, but I do not envy Dominic Mysterio right now. He's found himself in a tough situation with Liv Morgan. Liv won't leave him alone, and she's trying to take everything. And that's the thing. She's trying to take everything from Rhea Ripley, not just the title. She already got that. It was a shoulder for a shoulder when Rhea Ripley went out. She was out for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then she took her belt, trying to take her man, now trying to take her family with the Judgment Day. And it's tough, man. It's tough right now for Dominic Mysterio. But you saw Mommy trucking to the ring. She's ready to take it there. She's ready to go to SummerSlam. Looking like we're going to get Liv Morgan defending the title against Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. I think it was kind of the writing on the wall with that. But what did you think about this segment and the match?
One thing to Liv Morgan's credit is I didn't realize how calculating she was. She put that out there, but I don't want to say I underestimated her, but she's
wily. She's wily.
When she says she wants something, she's gonna take it, and she's not in your face about it. she's, she it's like a good magician. Like,
Yeah.
it's like the sleight of hand. Like,
Yep.
when you're paying attention to this hand, what is this hand doing? And not only like, yeah, she's taking slowly and surely almost everything from mommy, and she's doing it. Everything she said she was going to do, she is doing it. So I didn't know Liv Morgan was such a villain, and I'm here for it, because you know what? There are a lot of people who don't give Liv Morgan the credit that is due, and it is due, and it happened almost right in front of our eyes, but I wasn't really paying attention to how devious she truly was.
Yeah.
But, man, Rhea Ripley's inevitable return, I knew Liv was going to be in for it. And once her music hit, her jaw dropped on the floor, and she ran out of there like a Looney Tunes cartoon. And that was even apparent in the segment last night. Like, you know the sound effect that Fred Flintstone makes when he's running?
Yeah.
I swear I heard that play out in real life when I was watching. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, it's a tough situation. Voice says Liv sucks. Oh, come on. I think listen, I mean, in the realm of being a heel, yeah, but honestly, to be real, I think Liv Morgan's doing some of the best work of her career. I mean, as somebody who's watched Liv Morgan for the entirety of her career, I can definitely say that those first couple of title reigns, or first title reign that when she cashed in on Ronda Rousey years ago, it was like you got the title, but you still don't feel like a top girl, like now it feels like she has the title and she's right. Like she's growing into the title, I believe, because we're seeing the development of this character, this manipulative, flirty character that is taking Dominic Mysterio. But here's the key thing right here. Dominic Mysterio is not saying no. Like there's some consent here that's happening, and I think that could lead to something down the line, possibly in the SummerSlam match. I don't know, but Annie, what's your thoughts? They finally have set the match with her being Rhea Ripley coming back. The word is that she is not going to wrestle before SummerSlam. She's technically not cleared right now. Mm-hmm. I think that she came and showed up early just to help grow the storyline, because it's been a budding storyline, but I think they're looking to pivot and do something. Something's going to happen at SummerSlam, but they've got the match set. What do you think about this match? Do you have an excitement for it? Do you think there could be any funny business in the match? What are you thinking about this match as a whole?
My thing is, don't sleep on Liv Morgan. She is calculating, and the moment that you take your eyes off her, that's when she's going to pull one over on you. I'm a huge fan of Rhea Ripley. I love everything. I love her divine power, just the eminence that she has. And she is, I liken a lot of myself to Rhea Ripley. I see so many things present in her that I want to emulate.
Yeah.
But her intervention last night, she needed to make herself known again, because so much time out of the spotlight, people tend to forget. People have short attention spans. So she needed to let people know who Rhea Ripley was all over again. But, she really came back to survey the damage that Liv has done. And, a lot has been raveling because of her doing. And I feel like it's only going to escalate before SummerSlam. So you know what? And the pattern doesn't lie. Liv is only going to continue on that streak as we approach SummerSlam. So as far as funny business that might occur, it's totally within the realm of possibility. It really is.
Yeah, because when I think about it, and once again, I have to go back to the wild card here, and that's Dominic Mysterio. Yeah. He's saying one thing and doing another thing. I mean, you can definitely see it. I mean, those stretches that Liv Morgan was given, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, but this is the thing. And OG Tony in the chat here is saying exactly what I'm about to get to. I'm thinking Dom's going to turn on Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. I think we can definitely see it. I mean, look, let me just put it to you like this, Annie. I mean, Liv is got him a whole PS5, got him the chicken nuggies. You know, she's coming in, she's hanging out and helping out the boys and stuff like that. I don't know. There's a situation here where we could see that, where maybe, you know, Dom is seeing maybe the grass is greener on the other side. Finn did take the key. We was talking about it in the house call. That the way that Finn Balor took that key, it needs to be studied. It was quick. He was with the quickness. He just like bam, just took it. So how is he going to play into all this? Because I still feel like, as I've been saying on past episodes here, he's somebody that you need to. If you're not paying attention to Finn Balor, you need to be, because he's about to do something. It's his mannerisms, the way he's saying things. You know, people think, oh, well, Finn's just been pushed to the wayside. No, this is by design. They don't want you to think about what Finn is doing, but Finn is definitely about to do something. So what's your thoughts, I guess, is my question before we move on to the next subject here. Do you think we could see Dom turn on Rhea? Do you think Finn gets involved? Do you think we can see Rhea win her title back? Do you think possibly Liv wins clean? What's your thoughts?
You know, I feel like I'm not sure if Dom will turn on Mommy to do his own free will, but inspired by Liv Morgan's game. You know, one thing to Liv Morgan's credit is she knows how to use her sex appeal to get what she wants. Call it what you want. That's powerful. She knows how her beauty and her actions make men respond, and it's all a part of the revenge game, baby. She's gonna get what she wants, and she's gonna take it. And you know, she is calculating. She knows how to get men to do what she wants. She's like, I'm envisioning a puppet master, and all of the puppets are dancing.
Yep.
And does she actually give a crap about Dom? Probably not.
That's what I'm thinking.
On Mommy. And she, like you mentioned earlier, she wants to unravel the Judgment Day, at least from my perspective.
Yeah. And
she's doing it, knocking it down brick by brick. You know, this once solid, formidable unit. The Judgment Day might face its final judgment. It might, you know, and there are so many things unraveling that will, before we know it, Mommy might have everything she loves taken from her. And one of the comments said that Mommy did kidnap Dom, which is true. You know, he has a thing for toxic women.
He loves it, doesn't he? He loves it.
I mean, have you seen Mommy and Liv? Like, final judgment. Yeah, I didn't even realize. There we go. The final judgment. The team up we didn't know that we needed.
Yeah. No. But I hear what you're saying, though, and it's a good point. I think that there is a reality. I think there is a reality where Liv Morgan is literally just using Dominic Mysterio to get what she wants.
I feel like he's a pawn.
He's a pawn. It very much feels like he's a pawn. But we'll see as we get to SummerSlam, because right now it seems like Rhea Ripley and Dom have reconciled. But could that just be for now till we see some type of swerve happen at SummerSlam? So we'll see what happens. It's an interesting story. I've been interested with everything that's been going on with the Judgment Day, and from this situation with the Judgment Day, it spouted a match, and it spouted Dominic Mysterio versus Jey Uso, and Jey Uso now so we got this whole, it seems like we got a whole soap opera going on now in Monday Night Raw, because you got Dominic trying to win Mommy back. You've got Liv Morgan, who is heavily pursuing Dominic Mysterio. And now you have another element with Jey Uso wanting El Champion to tell mommy. He said, "Eh." So that's that's the
Wait, can
element
you
that
tell me
came
that
into
again?
play.
What did he say to?
He said to tell her, "Eh."
Perfect.
So
Almost like Jey Uso was right here. I love it.
but that's exactly, he sees what he wants. He's talking about taking her to Waffle House. It's cheap, but it's good, which is how I describe myself. And yeah, he's looking to take her there, get her a nice little meal and everything like that. But this, once again, this spouted a match that Jey Uso ended up winning. Jey Uso's been on an interesting trajectory himself, because my question is, like, he's been in main events. He's not won anything. He's not won an Intercontinental Championship, World Heavyweight Championship, Money in the Bank briefcase. He's been there. I guess, like, what's next for Jey Uso coming out of this? Because he's not going to be in the title picture going into SummerSlam. So I guess what's your thoughts on Jey Uso? If you want to give the household your thoughts on Jey Uso, and what do you think might be in store for him for SummerSlam?
You know what? I think he's really taking advantage of Dom Mysterio's weakness. He's been paying attention to what's been transpiring between Dirty Dom and Liv Morgan. So who's to say he's not going to pull Mr. Steal Your Girl and slide on right into his DMs? Come on. Like, I mean, it seemingly appears that he respects Rhea as she is. So why can't someone else, swoop in? I'm all for it. Like, hey, you're not showing your girl the respect that she deserves. And he's going to say, eh? Is that what you said? Is that what?
Eh.
I don't.
There you go. You get it. You'll get it. Just keep working on it. But
I will. I'll try. I'll work on it. I will. I'll do some homework. I mean, and who doesn't love Waffle House?
Yeah, let me some Waffle House.
I mean, I like Waffle House, but it'll be interesting to see what comes out of SummerSlam for Jey Uso.
Yeah. I mean, the comment here is right. I mean, if your Waffle House cook, he's not working on his mixtape, got an ankle monitor, you might as well just listen. He got to have the do-rag, the cigarette behind his ear, and everything, and like he gonna hook you up a nice little bacon sandwich or something like that. Like like he will. So yes to Waffle House. If any Waffle House representative is listening to this and you want to give us a sponsorship, so we'll take that. Yeah, we'll take that. But things moving with Jey Uso, and he picks up the victory over Dominic Mysterio with the Uso splash. I thought it was a good match. I do. A Monday Night Raw match, you don't expect it to go crazy or anything like that, but I thought it was a pretty good match. And man, I thought, once again, I got to say, I think this was a good episode of Monday Night Raw. A lot of moving stories going on, including.
Were you surprised when Liv Morgan pulled Dirty Dom out of the ring?
I wasn't. I don't know. I want to see where this goes, because it's gonna be interesting to see how these two grow. Because once again, she's showing, hey, Dom, I really want this, but it could be a ploy. It could be a thing where it could be a thing where he actually does say, you know what, I actually want to be with I want to be with Liv Morgan. I'm gonna help her retain the title at SummerSlam, and then he pledges his allegiance to Liv Morgan, and she's just like, nah. No.
Prediction, I'm calling it right now. She has no actual interest in that man. She's playing with his emotions. And sometimes, do we love to see it? I love when people get the consequences of their actions. I'm kind of a human troll. So, chaos ensues. Annie loves to be there laughing as things play out.
And that's exactly what we might see. We might see a little karma in store for Dominic Mysterio, but that's just a perfect segue, honestly.
Go ahead. On the flip side, how do you think Rhea is going to respond to Jey Uso's I do
I
love
don't
the
know.
drama. I do. It feels.
I think I like it. I don't know. I think she might like. I think she might. Respectfully, I think she might like a little in her life. So I think that that's a thing. They can, it's been nice to see. And honestly, it was definitely giving like staying with Dominic and Rhea. It was definitely giving Eddie Guerrero and China vibes. He was following her around with the flower, like mommy, mamacita,
He gave
and
her
and
that
try,
rose though.
yeah, she threw the roses at him. And another element of it that I didn't bring in the fact is Damian Priest and how much he's loving all this. Damian Priest is just here like, bro, I told you from the very beginning.
He is meaning.
Yeah.
He too loves chaos. He loves the drama too. It fuels him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I can see it when I see it, and I'm calling attention to it.
Yes. No, I agree. He's loving it. He's here for El Champion. He's killing me, man. I'm enjoying it. They're talking about him as a baby face. I could see it. I could definitely see it.
I see it too. I definitely saw it in the back and forth between he and Gunther last night.
Yeah.
And just hearing the words that Damian Priest said, you are losing your heart, or you lost your heart.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. That sounds familiar, but out of character for Damian Priest. I'll work with it. I'm open to it.
Yeah. I think they're wanting to go with it because I do think they're transitioning him away from the Judgment Day like that's coming. And then also I believe because Gunther is just this uber heel right now, and they want to make sure that they keep the investment on Damian Priest, which is a good thing to transition him right now because it feels right, because he feels like he's doing things in a babyface way. Like he broke up the gentleman's agreement with Seth Rollins and said, "Hey, I know I said that if I win, if I win, that you can't fight for the championship anymore, but I still feel like I have something to prove. So I'm gonna forego that, and I'm gonna say, I will fight you." And we brought up Carlito. They brought up Carlito there in the chat. Carlito has had some of the funniest one-liners in the last few weeks that have just killed me. I mean, we were talking about the stretch earlier with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. He comes in with the one-liners like, why he's like, it's really not that hard. And he says, well, it looks like to me it is. And I'm like, yo, you can't say that.
Well, he can. Well, he did. He did.
He did.
He did. He did.
That's not PG. I love it. I'm
another thing I wanted to call to mind between the face-off with Gunther is, and going back to the inevitable face turn with Damian Priest, Damian was giving us his background as a tragic story that he was on the streets fighting for 20 years to get where he is, to hold that belt on his shoulder. And then Gunther trolls him and
so bad.
And just craps all over it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny and true.
Cold-blooded. He said your parents didn't even love you enough to provide you with the great life. And I was like, dang, he's cutting deep.
Right at the knees. Like if he had a katana, he would have slashed right through. Like, way to snatch the soul out of a man on live TV. Like,
it's crazy to me, Annie, because people say, like, there's still people out there that say that Gunther can't talk, and I'm like, are you not hearing?
Sure, I saw it.
Are you not hearing him? Like he's cutting, and that's
two different programs.
Exactly, and that's not even the first time where Gunther has cut a promo where I'm like, damn, like that's not the first. So like, I'm not here for the noise that the IWC is saying Gunther can't cut a promo. If you're saying he can't cut a promo, I'm sorry, you're not watching, and I just think that because he holds us on every single time. Gunther's got that poise. He's championship material, which makes you think possibly he could win at SummerSlam. But I guess I'll just ask you straight out, who do you think's going to win between those two? Do you got an idea right now this early?
I think this feud is going to be something to be remembered, but I'm gonna say Gunther. I think he's gonna pick up the W on that one. He's been putting in that work week after week, segment after segment, and proving why he deserves to be in that position. I think it's gonna go to Gunther at SummerSlam. I really do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we play a game sometimes, and I'll have to bring you on, and we'll play it sometime. It's called "That's True, That Might Be True, That's Ridiculous."
I love games.
And basically, what it is we pose a question, like we pose a statement, and it's the person who's answering its job to either say that's true, that might be true, or that's ridiculous, and then give us a reason why. So last month I did an episode like that with the voice Josh Joseph, and the statement came up: do I think that that Gunther and Nia Jax are going to walk out of SummerSlam as champions? And I said that that's true. I think that I think voice kind of stay, because that might be true. It's kind of like you're a little on the fence, but that I said that's true. I think they're both going to walk out champion. I think it's time for Gunther. I do. I think Nia Jax, and we won't go too deep into that, but I think Nia Jax is on a really good run right now for sure. But yeah, I do think Gunther's going to come out of it winning, and then we can pivot and do something different. I think that there's another story to be told with Damian Priest, trying to handle this Judgment Day situation, either trying to patch it up or just let it go. And then the story will be him, on his own too, and trying to scratch and scrape back up from that.
Especially if he drops the belt. That's probably going to escalate his departure from Judgment Day even further. It's going to give him the huge baby face push. And who doesn't love an underdog? I love underdogs. Those who overcome the inevitable. We saw a lot of heart from Damian Priest.
Oh yeah, and I think that's. I honestly think that's why people are getting behind him, because he's like, it's a natural progression, because he's like, I could be a Weasley heel and win because of my family all the time, but no, I want to prove I can do it. I want to prove that I can stand on my own too and be a legitimate champion. And I think there's a nobility in that. And I think that's what is turning people around on Damian Priest.
I agree. I would have to agree, and who is he without the influence of the Judgment Day? That's what I'm really, really interested in.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that there's something to be told there, but there's a lot of stories telling. We talked about drama and stuff like that and everything, but I got to talk about this Drew McIntyre drama. We got to get to that.
Boy.
Yeah, because Drew is moving in such a way right now. The self-sabotage is so real with this man. It's crazy. But he comes out, he's got the all black leather on, the leather skirt. He had to be hot in that. And and he came out, but
leather doesn't breathe. It sure doesn't.
No. But he has a segment with AP, Adam Pearce, and he's like, listen, I'm ready to make this match. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, which I think could be a good spot for it, a good time for it. Scottish Leather Daddy. That was him. That was absolutely him. but he came
That's
out.
all I'm going to refer to him as from now on.
Yeah, Scottish Leather Daddy. There you go. I love it. But he could have had his match, and him and Punk have been going back and forth. I mean, we talk about toxicity. These are two very toxic men that are colliding right now, Annie, and it continued and the self-sabotage also continued because all he had to do was apologize to the referees. We talked about it in the house call. You didn't even have to mean it. Lie, bro.
You didn't mean it. All you had to do was say, I'm sorry. Even if there was no emotion in that phrase at all. Sometimes you gotta play the game. And Drew McIntyre refused to play the game. He poured kerosene all over and he lit it on fire. He really did.
Yeah, he did.
And did you given the previous events and Drew McIntyre's pattern, did you foresee this outcome last night with Drew McIntyre?
You know, I in a way I did, just because it's going with who he is right now. And with Drew, there's been a whole lot of self-sabotage. I mean, we can harken back to WrestleMania, where once again we say all he had to do was apologize. All he had to do was leave. He could have took his title. He could have left. He could have been and celebrated with his wife. He had his WrestleMania moment, finally winning in front of fans after his WrestleMania win in the COVID year 2020. It's a thing where it's like there's some things where I'm like, back when Drew was saying things like, listen, Jey Uso is here on Monday Night Raw. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I'm staying away from it. Everybody else was ready to give him a chance. And he wasn't. And I was like, okay, so I can see Drew is really like, he's playing in the field by himself right now, and I think that with him, we're seeing the progression of this unhinged character. So to answer your question, there was definitely something in me that said he's not going to apologize. He's not going to apologize, and it's going to prattle on, and it's going to become a thing where maybe they pivot and maybe we get Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, or maybe they wait to the very last minute to go ahead and set up the match with CM Punk. Is CM Punk ready? That's the question. Is CM Punk medically cleared to go? I think that's the thing that that's in the back of my mind, at least. Is he ready to go? And Vince is saying he wants Punk versus Seth already. They've been teasing that for a while. They've been teasing that since Punk returned to the company. But yeah, I did see that there. But I guess my question for you is what are we doing with Drew here? Are we bringing Drew? Are we making it to where he's gonna go up against Punk at SummerSlam? Are we pivoting to Seth Rollins at SummerSlam and pushing off Punk a little bit further out? Is he ready to go? What was your thoughts on that whole storyline and just kind of the progression that you've seen with the Drew McIntyre character as a whole?
I'm a huge Drew McIntyre fan. There's just something about him. He just has that hero aura to him, and I just want to support him blindly, but I can't, because the pattern is there. It's almost like he's walking to the gallows and he's trudging up the stairs, and then the person who pulls the lever on the trap floor, it's Drew McIntyre. He really is. I'm like, what? Like, you are just working against yourself.
He is, absolutely.
And he's his own foil. And Seth and Punk don't even need to be involved.
Yeah, so, it's Drew versus Drew.
You can just give Drew his own segment where he just beats up himself, because that's the whole vibe I'm getting.
Yes.
And he said last night, everyone is trying to screw over Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Nope. Sometimes we have to come to terms with the toes that we step on, because the refs are just doing their job. They really are. They were casualties in the line of fire, and Drew is just setting everything ablaze. Everything he's ever worked for in no. Without those refs, there's not an official match. No. Respect our officials.
Yes. Go
ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, OG Tony has an idea here. Punk and Drew and Seth as special referee.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
That it certainly does. That's a good thought there, Tony. That really is. And even if you want to flip it, Tony, if Punk's not ready to go, what if you do Punk as the special enforcer or something like that? I would want to see Punk in the match, honestly. I would prefer to see him in the match. But if he's not ready to go, that's just be like back up there. But
it was a tricep injury, right?
Yeah. And I think he got that. I believe it was the Royal Rumble. I think it was the Royal Rumble.
I think it was.
So he's been injured for a while. Hopefully he can get cleared up soon. But there's a lot of smoke with this feud right now, and it just begs the question, what are these two gonna do once they're done with each other? Because like the excitement of Punk, not to say that it's waned or anything like that, but it's like now that he's been back for almost a year now, it's kind of like, okay, you've been back since Survivor Series and we had you for a couple months, then you got hurt, and yes, you've been making like appearances and doing this and that, but I think everybody's wanting to see Punk be Punk, and we want to see him be, and he can never be the Punk from 2011 again. I mean, we can't scale the clock back. Punk has already had like a pretty, a pretty loaded laundry list of injuries between his AEW run and his run with WWE now. So like, you have a limited time with Punk's in-ring ability for sure. That was exactly what I was about to say, Voice, is that you have a limited time. You got to make the most of it. I don't know if he's got a lot of title reigns in front of him, but I do think he's got a lot of stories in front of him. No, he doesn't. No,
I don't think so either. Just his presence is enough to offset any type of balance.
Yeah. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I really do. He doesn't need a title because anything that he does, people pay attention to.
100%.
And that's the lure of CM Punk. So
give him a microphone and he does what he needs to do.
Facts. Exactly. And I think that's what I think that's what he understands that he's there to do. So it's great. I'm digging the story. Hopefully we'll see it move a little bit more as the weeks go on. We still got a couple more weeks till SummerSlam. That's going down in Cleveland. That's August 3rd. But we got to move on here. We have to talk a little bit about everything going on with what is it?
He said, "Don't."
Oh yes.
Real glass.
No real. Don't do it. Don't
Perfect.
use it. He hates it. He's just looking out for the betterment of the company.
Perfect.
But we have to talk about the Bo Dallas and Chad Gable situation.
Yes.
I mean, that was, my gosh, it was a heavy situation. So we know about Chad Gable calling him out. Chad Gable's been victimized by the Wyatt Six.
Is that a smart move by Chad Gable to call them out? I've never stared down the barrel of a loaded gun, and I don't intend to. But Chad Gable is a special kind of stupid in this, in my opinion.
He's making real Chad moves right now.
Chad right now.
Yes, he really is. He really is. But I think he thought he had the drop on Bo Dallas with his newly aligned stable. We've kind of seen this coming for a while now with him and the Creed brothers. It finally came to fruition and it happened. But even then, it was still the Wyatt Six coming together and standing tall. And one thing we've been talking about, me and the guys here at the pod, is like, it's weird because I don't know if you feel this way, Annie, but it's strange how much like Bo Dallas is starting to look like his brother Bray.
Yes, like it's Bray Wyatt being summoned from the other side and joining Bo Dallas in the midst of it all. Like it's just in the beard, his mannerisms, like when Chad and the Creed brothers were, laying that beat down, and when he was just on his back and he started laughing maniacally,
that's scary.
Shivers down to my spine. And and just in his the pitch in his voice, it was so reminiscent of Bray, but it's Bo Dallas, and he's just fusing the two beautifully. He's not trying to, I personally don't feel like he's trying to stand in his brother's shoes, but he's coming into his own while paying homage to his brother. And I think that's amazing. Yes.
And you talk about that. We have to talk about the tape that was given to the, my God, that tape. I don't know. You got to be made of stone to not feel something on that Rowan video, because it's so real. Like I think all of us have, had some sort of relationship with loss,
Yeah,
but
100%.
to lose not only, somebody who you went up and down the roads with as often as he did with Luke Harper, Brody Lee, that's tough because even when Bray was gone from the company, they were, for a while they were still together before he ended up before Brody ended up going to AEW and doing his own thing, and then he lost him. And then, Bray was just coming back to the company, and he started feuding with LA Knight. Then he was slated to have a feud last year with Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. Then he got ill, and then months later, when we thought he was going to come back and make his return, he left us too. And man, that Rowan video was just so heavy, and it's crazy. Like, it's tragic art. Like, the way that it was presented, and it's very much I am really thoroughly enjoying the presentation of the Wyatt Six. I think that it is a thing where it is like you got to be delicate with something like that, and I think that they have been delicate, and I like the idea that every week we're getting new introductions to the new versions of
Why
these
be
characters.
delicate, though? I want to ask you that. Why be delicate? Because every human in this universe, they experience loss. So why not give them something to relate to? Why not give them an experience that, a viewer can say, wow, me too.
Yeah, no, and you're right about that. I agree with that. I guess when I say delicate, I don't mean in the way like the presentation of the promos or anything. I just mean like once we take it to the ring and we get wrestling, like they had to be very like delicate with how they did Bray, because it was a fine line. They didn't want it to come off as goofy, or something like that. They wanted it to be very much taken seriously. So like the presentation, like, no, as far as going deep, as far as like us really digging deep into these characters' emotions and what they're feeling, and feeling them have those emotions real time. Like I thoroughly believe, I think it goes without saying that Rowan video was one take. I mean, that was wrapped, that was done, that was real. My only thing is, once it gets to the ring, I want it to be presented in a way where they continue to have that legitimacy. They continue to have those layers, and it's not just some attraction or sideshow, because I think that's
not a novelty.
Exactly. So let me ask you, let's get to the tape. What was your thoughts on the tape, your in-depth thoughts about everything? Because that, once again, it's just getting deeper and deeper every single week. So what are your thoughts on the tapes that we've seen and then the tape we saw this week?
And the tape that was featured last night, that was the one that was featured on the Pat McAfee show, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was given to him on the Pat McAfee show.
I am a very, I don't know how to explain this, cautious human being. So when a random VHS tape shows up on my doorstep, I will not watch it. Makings of a horror film.
It's giving Ring.
Yes, that traumatized me as a child. And once I saw that, I'm like, this seems familiar. Yeah, I'm not watching that type. No, like, who has a VHS player anymore? Be kind, rewind. It just added another level of allure to what is becoming the Wyatt Six. It added another amazing layer, because it only makes me want to go deeper, especially with how rich and painful Eric Rowan's delivery was. I mean, someone handed him a mask and he said, "It gives me hope." But what kind of, like, that's each person has a different relation to what hope is for them. So what kind of path is going to unwind for Eric Rowan? I mean, loss has unimaginable effects on the human psyche. So what is going to play out? And he said, because I took notes on what was said, and he said the last few years have been really hard. I used to have a family. So, and now it's coming back full circle. So you know, you don't mess with a man who has nothing to lose. You
Yeah.
really don't. So he's going to be a formidable force to be reckoned with. And not only him, but every other person who is involved in the Wyatt Six.
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree with you, and I think we're gonna see more. Like, what is what is Dexter Loomis's story gonna be?
mhm,
You know, what is Joe Gacy's story gonna be? Are we gonna hear Nikki Cross give her story? You know, she's been delivering the tapes. Are we gonna see that? This Wyatt Six thing is moving in such a way that it is very Bray Wyatt, because I
mhm,
remember when they did the Firefly Fun when he did the Firefly Funhouse
mhm,
years ago, it was episodic, weekly. We
mhm.
saw it every week. We're seeing
Right.
the same thing with these tapes. This is very much a Bray Wyatt formula, and I
Mm.
just love it. I love that this stable was coming together to continue his work and do it in a way where it's not looked at as goofy, cheesy, or anything like that. I think that I will say this with Triple H at the helm and the way they presented it already. I have high hopes for how they're going to present it in the ring
I
when that
do
time comes. I really do. I
too. Mhm,
honestly do.
mhm.
I think if it was still Vince, it
You know,
could.
and another thing I'd like to add, because
Yeah, go
last
ahead.
week there was no in-ring altercation involving the Wyatt Six and the new stable that Chad Gable stable. Anyway, but and you know, they weren't diminished as forming faction. You know,
Yeah,
I really liked that because when things started to unfold, they got the heck out of Dodge.
it was out of there.
And
It was out.
I really, really, really appreciated that fact because,
Yeah.
you know, nothing to kill the momentum before it even gets to start, before, you know, things really start. So
Hey, they dipped out of there. They was
they,
out of there. And
they,
it was gone, and it was the right move because honestly, I would have done the same thing. So, you
yeah.
know, like what are we leading to with the Wyatts? We're gonna see. It's gonna be a good situation, I believe. But another situation here that we're starting to see
Hmm.
is Sonya Deville. She's clicking up with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. I just really wanted to graze over that real quick and talk about that real quick because I think it's great that we're seeing another women's faction. I do. And I think that those three can build something together. And also, I believe that it gives something for Damage Control to do because
Hmm.
Damage Control has been drafted to Monday Night Raw
Yeah.
since obviously the draft,
Hmm.
but they haven't really done anything.
Hmm.
Like it's tough seeing Damage Control lost in the shuffle because they keep saying things like, oh, well, Damage Control is going to take over and Damage Control is going to show Monday Night Raw this and this and that. But it's like, we ain't seen anything. So,
Right.
like, at least now with this new stable, we can see them have some involvement. But are you gonna put them? Are you gonna put the new stable over Damage Control, who I still think has a lot of traction? I think that they still have some heat behind them to be a stable that makes people believe in what they do. I think Io Sky is still super talented.
Hmm.
When is Asuka gonna come back into the play?
Right.
Asuka's been on the show for a while. What do you think about this new stable and where they're gonna fit into Monday Night Raw, and also where Damage Control could possibly fit? Because it doesn't seem like there's a great fit for them right now.
You know what? I love the team up of Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville, and Shayna Baszler. Like, you know, they did stuff on their own individually, but
Yeah.
this team up, I'm excited. I absolutely love strong women and the forces that they are becoming, because when they're in alignment, I really believe they're going to be unstoppable. Like, you know, Shayna has her MMA background, and Zoe Stark is the amazing technician that she is.
Incredible.
Sonya Deville, like, she has this maleficent energy, and
Yeah.
she is fearless. So they're not afraid to do business, and business will be done. You know, and as far as their involvement with Damage Control, I think it has the making of an excellent story. Like, you know, an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object, makes a
Yep.
bang, and I can't wait to see it. I really, really cannot wait to see it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. I also agree that I'm really loving the idea of the stable
Mhm.
because for weeks on this show, myself and the voice Josh Joseph, we're always trying to make Zoe Stark work. We're big fans of Zoe Stark. That's a good thought right there. That's a very good
Ooh,
thought. Possible war game match.
I
Uh
like
but
it.
but Zoe Stark, we're just very impressed with what she brings to the table. I'm a big Zoe Stark fan. So I'm like, when she was flanking Trish Stratus, and I was
Yeah,
like, okay, so they're letting her do something with Trish Stratus, and then when she eventually said, you know what, I'm tired of it, and then finally said screw it and turned on Trish Stratus, I thought it was like, all right, all steam ahead for Zoe Stark. We can put her in a situation, and then they cooled her off, and
yeah.
then and that she hasn't really done much. She had like a title shot here and there, but it was like on a show where it's like we just need our champion to have an opponent that they can beat to get to the next opponent. You know what I'm saying? So Zoe was in that role, but I'm like, no, like I want Zoe to be in the spot. Like
Her performance at Money in the Bank was phenomenal.
she's
It
so
really
good.
was. Just how she was moving through the air. It was like beautiful physics occurring in real time. And
Yeah,
I wanted more. I wanted more from Zoe Starks because I was unsure about Zoe Starks for a while. Like, what are they going to do with her?
yeah.
What's next for her? Because I feel like she's an amazing wrestler. She has the attitude, she has the look, but what's to be done with Zoe Stark? And I think her entering this stable, she's going to really hit the ground running. So,
I agree. I agree. I think, and this is the landscape that we're very much in, Annie, in professional wrestling, where it's like stables are very much a thing. Like you always want to have somebody watching your back and yada 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 in storyline. But when we're talking about in the confines of professional wrestling, you put somebody in the stable to protect their weaknesses. You want to try to hide their weaknesses. Maybe Zoe's not as entertaining as a talker, but who can talk? Uh,
Sonya
Sonya
Deville.
Deville. Sonya Deville's a great talker. And I love the addition of Sonya Deville of like sometimes she could wrestle, but mainly she's their manager. Because
Mhm.
remember, Sonya Deville is a former general manager of SmackDown.
Yeah,
And so she knows how to politic. She
right.
knows she's gonna be able to put her girls into a spot of prominence because of that ability to politic. And it's just a good move.
Right.
And I could definitely see tag titles in their future. That's a thing, or maybe somebody in the group gets a women's championship and then the other two get tag titles, and then because we've seen that with Damage Control, it's a real thing that could possibly
Right.
happen between these women, and I love it because this is a way to help these talents. Like when I think of somebody like that, I think of somebody like Finn Balor. Finn
Yep.
Balor, great wrestler, fantastic wrestler. On his own, people didn't really care, and then they put him with the Judgment Day, and like
Right.
boom, Finn is
Right.
is a great talent. Well, I hearken it back to the Wyatt family when Braun Strowman first premiered with the company. Braun Strowman was green. He was not that great of a wrestler, but he did not need to wrestle. He just had to come in there and be big and imposing and
Mm.
do a move or two, and it protected him until he actually learned how to wrestle. So very much the idea of a stable is to protect those, shield those weaknesses. Go ahead and shine on those strengths and do it as a unit, as a stable. So I think that it's great for all of these women to be a part of this. I just wanted to talk about that really quickly, just
For
because.
Sonya's benefit, she just came back from a nasty ACL tear. Ooh,
Yeah,
having had knee injuries, I know how imperative it is. So she
yeah,
gets to use her voice, like you said, she gets to politic and she gets to
yep.
preserve her body.
Yeah, no, it's all great points that you're making. Once again, I love this for her, just because we can see her do what she does best, and I think
Mhm.
that she's going to do what she does best. I'm
Mhm.
enjoying it. I think it's going to be great, but we got to talk about this main event segment right here. Ilya or match Ilya Dragunov, Sami
Mhm.
Zayn. They went at it. Pretty much what I expected, Annie. It was going to be a disqualifying finish. We saw Braun Breaker earlier. He was, of course, supposed to be out of the building. I knew he wasn't going to be out of the
Yep.
building. Security has been awful lately for the WWE. They can't keep any of these guys out. He comes in, he wrecks the match. I feel like personally, Annie, we could be leading towards possibly an Intercontinental Championship triple threat match, possibly because Dragunov has an argument.
Yeah.
He was in there in that match. They were in the heat of that match. He did not lose. He won by disqualification technically because he was attacked by Braun Breaker when he ran around the ring at 23 miles per hour and just speared him. It was an ugly spear too. It wasn't a pretty spear. It was an ugly spear.
Speared him in half.
Yes. And we saw one big thing I have to take away from this segment was Braun Breaker, who I'm a huge fan of since he's premiered on Monday Night Raw. He stood tall as the show was going off the air. And for some reason, that was just a huge thing for me. I don't want to say red flag because it was a good thing. It was, I guess, a green flag, Harvey. But it indicated to me that they're letting this guy stand tall at the end of the show. They like him a lot. And I think that they know that they have something.
And, he wanted his imminence to be known. And, he's got the size. He's got the look. I didn't realize how fast he can run.
Yeah.
Great. Like, I don't think a man should be able to run that fast, but Braun Breaker's doing it. Braun Breaker's doing it. And I like the possibility of that triple threat match for the IC title.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that coming into fruition.
Oh, I think that that's a good possibility. I think that I've become such a big fan of Dragunov too. I've always been a Sami Zayn fan. I met him years ago. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And I've just been a fan of him. Before that, I was a fan because I've been watching him since like his Ring of Honor days. Honestly, like when he was El Generico, and so I've followed him since then. But just he's a great wrestler. He's a great baby face. Right now, he's a great champion. I don't think if they do go with that triple threat match, I think that as much as I love Sami, as much as I respect Sami, I think that he's great, amazing. I think that whoever comes out of that match champion needs to be anybody but him. Anybody but him.
I agree. He did his due diligence to make that title what it is. He added his own prestige and he earned it. But what is coming after for him when he loses that belt, it's going to be even greater than when he actually attained it. I really and I'm gonna say the same for Damian Priest. When he dropped.
I think there's stories to be told with them without the title, and we're gonna see that soon with even Roman Reigns too. Whenever he returns, but there's people, fans. Their mindset is like it's all about wins and title wins and stuff like that. And I very much can see where you would have that perception if you're not dialed in to what wrestling really is, which really at its core, wrestling is stories. It's stories. I'm just saying, and I'm definitely going to let you get your point in, but my point is like the championships, as much as they're prestigious and whatnot, there's still props that you use to help tell the story, whatever the story is. So I think that it's very much still very storyline driven. But you had a thought.
The title is what drives the tension. It creates the rise and the fall of the story arc.
Yeah.
It gives people something to reach for. And when it's taken away from them, like what that does for someone's character development, it makes or breaks them. And that is what I appreciate.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people I don't feel understand because, maybe they're not in the business like we are. So they don't know, but that's what makes the storyline great.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to be able to lock in to that story. You got to be able to lose yourself within that story. I think honestly, Annie, like there's so many fans out there that are just like, oh, I want to show that I know this and this and this or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like you got to be able to suspend your disbelief and just be like, you know what, like there's like I think I was on IG earlier, and it was a story, or it was on WWE's page, and it was Jey Uso talking about mommy and trying to get her to go out on a date with them. And then I look in the comments, because I always do that, because I hate looking at the comments, but I also have to, though, because I got to gauge how people are responding to things. And there was one guy in there, I was like, wow, this is terrible, because we all know that Rhea Ripley just married Buddy Matthews, and Jey Uso is married, and Dominic Mysterio is married. I'm like, brother, they're acting. This is a show. This is a show. Like, you're sitting over here. Okay, we get it. You want to let everybody know you're the smart one in the comment section. We all know they're married. We don't care. It's acting. They're telling a story. So I don't know.
Go to their job like we do.
Yeah.
Like, if you want the predictable, go watch a sitcom.
Yep.
I get worked all the time by things I see. When Drew cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, I was yelling at the TV. I was along for the ride, for the highs and the lows, and you gotta let yourself have fun.
Yes.
You gotta it's mimicking real life.
It's supposed to be fun. Oh God, hype.
He ain't for monogamy.
Oh God.
And one thing that mommy said, when Dominic was trying to appeal to her good graces, she said, I don't belong to you. You belong to me.
Yes.
And I loved that, because it goes to show what I thought of earlier, like Dominic is a pawn.
Yep.
And a strong woman like Rhea Ripley, she chooses you.
Yep. And he should be fortunate to be chosen by, like, oh, listen, I'm not gonna go too deep in it, but if she wanted to use me as a pawn, I'm cool. so I'm cool with it. It's good, but but man, I just think this episode of Monday Night Raw was really good. We saw so much things develop from it going into SummerSlam, and I'm ready for it. I once again thought it was a really good episode. But also, we did advertise we was going to talk a little bit of NXT, and we will. We're going to graze over NXT and just kind of jump over it real quick. We don't want to go past it, because like we have to talk about the fact that the Rascals debuted. I mean, that was big.
Standing ovation from Annie in the living room last night.
Same.
And how
I was just happy to see it.
It was to see Zach Wentz return to the WWE universe. Yeah. I pumped my fist in the air like John Bender in the Breakfast Club. Heck yeah.
I was happy to see
Absolutely.
it. I was. It felt right. It felt good. You know, Wesley he's really made the best of that situation, what happened, becoming one of the greatest North American champions in the company. Whether you want to talk about length of title reign or number of defenses, it's him. You know, so he's made the best of it. But man, seeing Zachary Wentz show up there, and then seeing Trey Miguel there too, it's just crazy.
Because, when he was approached by WWE, he said no.
Yeah.
He wasn't done in his tenure with TNA. He had things to do.
Yeah.
And I've read stories about Triple H saying, like, when people say no and it comes time to revisit that person, they're not very forgiving.
Yeah.
But to see Trey appear on that Tron, it was amazing. Couldn't have happened to a more deserving person. You know, he came up on the Indies in Michigan, and well-deserved. Someone who puts his heart and soul into this business. And I see that translated through every movement, every word he speaks on that microphone.
Yeah.
I couldn't have been happier for Trey Miguel. All three of them, really. Because, their song was a banger. Their in-ring presence was a banger. Like, and just the cohesion they have as Rascals, electrifying. And I loved the team up against them with Gallus. I really, really did.
Perfect match. Perfect match.
Really did. I had no idea Joe Coffey could move like a high flyer.
Yes.
Dude that big, who has as much gravitational pull to the earth as he does, could move as he does. And his selling, whenever Trey would give him this amazing move, just the height that he would go, the flipping and the rotations that he would perform, like mind-blowing.
It was a perfect match. It was those six going up against each other, 3 versus 3 was just it was great. It was a great call. And once again, just happy to see them there. And now it's Myron's turn now. We got to get Myron there. Yes. My boy Myron Reed, a friend of the show here, and shared many locker rooms with him. Yeah. He's definitely next. He's part of those Rascals. Another thing was great to see them as the Rascals. I mean, that was a big thing right there, to be able to see them be able to do their thing and be themselves. And it's all been a part of this collaboration between NXT and TNA. Yes. It's been really great. And they said his name and he appeared.
Hearing the NXT-TNA chants. Yes. The fans are eating this up.
They love it.
But the name was said, and he appeared. I absolutely love Joe Hendry. He's not here. Okay.
You said his name. You said his name, so you never know. You got to be careful with that.
But he probably heard it through the ether.
He'll find his way. He always finds his way.
He will. He really does. And I loved Booker T's reaction to when Joe Hendry, and he doesn't understand the weight of his words. You say his name, he literally will appear.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I love Joe Hendry, and I'm so behind him right now. Just his reaction to the fans. There needs to be more of a collab. More, please.
I think honestly, I think NXT is going to swoop him. I think they're going to swoop him. I do. I think that there's going to, and we talked a little bit about this in the house call. I think there will be a swooping of talent a little bit there. I think. I agree. Jordan Grace. I think we could see Joe Hendry
almost up to an end.
It is, isn't it?
It ends in, I want to say, either December or the beginning of January.
Ooh, okay, yeah. She honestly, with the especially with the crop of talent that they're bringing in right now, their women's talent that they're bringing in, that's just going to be, it's going to be big.
When you said that. I got it.
WWE has really focused on their women's division in such a way that they're not missing. I mean, they're just not. Of course, we can talk about the horsewomen, with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair and Mercedes Moné and Bayley. But man, now we've gotten, like, over the years, we've gotten Bianca Belair. We've gotten Liv Morgan, who's now rising to prominence. Rhea Ripley is an amazing top star. So many we're having, Chelsea Green's coming into her own. Tiffany Stratton is another one who just really just worked her way up just so fast, honestly. Naomi returning to the company, the signing of Jade Cargill. I mean, I could keep going. I mean, their women's roster is just absolutely amazing. Lola Vice, I'm a fan of her. So Ruka, Kalani Jordan. I mean, the Prodigy, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, whenever she returns. Yeah. I mean,
I see her on Instagram working out and in the gym. Like, she looks good. She looks healthy. She's getting her range of motion back. Like, she's rebuilding the foundation for sure.
Good. We love to hear it. We definitely love to hear it. And another lady I want to talk about real quick is Thea Hale. Thea Hale, she steps up to Roxanne Perez, and I like the spunkiness
I
of
do too.
Thea Hale.
I
She's
do too.
just a ball of energy, and like,
Human C4.
yeah, she's small but mighty, and like I like what she can bring to the table as far as her personality, but also she actually can really wrestle too.
Can.
So
She
it's
really
it
can.
yeah, I'm impressed with what I see from her. I unfortunately I think that it's just she's going to be a footnote in Roxanne's current title reign. I
Mhm.
just don't think Thea is ready for the NXT championship yet. I think that a good step for Thea Hale when that time comes would be first the NXT Women's North American
I agree.
Championship,
I agree.
then maybe work her up to that NXT Women's Championship.
Do you
But
think she could accomplish that being in Chase U?
I think she can accomplish being the NXT North American champion in Chase U. I think if she's going to be the NXT Women's Champion, she's going to have to break away.
I agree. I agree. I
I
feel like she
I
gets
do.
lost in their shadow.
Yeah, yeah, and she can stand on her own too, and we're seeing that now. Once again, like I said earlier in her career when she was part of Chase U, I see it because it's like she's still new. And remember, this is their next in line program. So, like with their next in line program,
Oh,
these
really?
yeah, oh yeah, she was part of the
Oh,
next in line program,
I didn't know
and
that. Very
yeah,
cool. What was she?
yeah.
What was her sport?
Oh man, I think she was track and field. I
I can see
think.
it. I can
I
see it.
think it was track and field, but I would have to I'd have to be sure about that. But she's part. I do know she's part of that next in line program,
Mhm.
just like a lot of these stars. And so
Yeah.
like she had to very much be taught not just the WWE way of wrestling. Like if you come in from the Indies, she had to be taught wrestling. So like you got to be protected in those stables. But now I think it's starting to become a time where it's like, yeah, we might be able to, it might come a time very, very soon where she's going to break away. I like Thea Hale. I like what she brings to the table. Once again, Roxanne Perez, she's just so poised and
She is.
looks like a
Her
champion.
promo last night was phenomenal.
It's hard to believe she's only 23.
I Unbelievable. Like, her namesake, it really does ring true. She is a bit of a prodigy.
She's the
Um,
prodigy.
she's name dropping people like Charlotte Flair, Bailey, Asuka, Rhea, and she's on pace to shatter their records.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty bold. But you don't have that boldness without actually believing that you can achieve such things.
Yeah.
And I really can't wait to see what is to come from Roxanne, because I think
Yeah.
she is doing that belt a lot of justice. But one thing that I'm not a big fan of regarding Roxanne is she sounds like a child. Given that she is 22, when to her
Yeah.
speaking voice, she sounds like a little kid. But I also found it ironic when she was telling Thea Hale, "You're just a child." I'm like,
Yeah. I was like, wait.
wait a minute, wait a minute. You know, like, my ears hear and my eyes see. I'm like, wait a minute. There's
Yeah.
something afoot here.
But I think it's very much she has to give off that energy. Like
does.
I
does.
think she's trying to make Thea Hale believe that like, hey, like we're really
And
not
her
that far
mind
away
games.
from each other.
Right. The mind games Roxanne is playing is
Yeah.
undeniable.
Oh
Really is.
yeah. She's so talented. It's crazy like to think she used to take the bus to go to Booker T's schools to learn. Like she
Really.
really was. Oh yeah, she
No
did
idea.
whatever she had to do. She's
Yeah.
she's gonna be a big star. And
Yeah.
when it's time for her to come to the main roster, I do believe that. So once again, I mean the women's division in WWE is it's
Mhm.
fine. It is
Mhm.
good, and it's just gonna keep growing with Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. They're gonna be showing up. That's gonna be a big old thing. And then we got to talk about, because I kind of got your thoughts a little bit on
Mhm.
like this whole situation with Brooks Jensen last
Mhm.
night. And I'm not sure if you've seen all the things, but like they were very much running a story with him where even like Shawn Michaels had to be like, yeah, we had to release him.
Mhm.
And he was just acting too belligerent. And then he would go on social media and like he would have these like drunken rants against NXT. He was in the like they let him do a couple of indie dates. They're really selling this Brooks Jensen story. And now he's back in NXT and he wrestled Javon Evans, who is incredibly impressive. I mean,
Unbelievable.
we talk about prodigies, of course,
Yes.
Roxanne Perez, absolute prodigy. But my God, Javon Evans at 20 years old is insane.
Yes. It's like, how do you have that much ability when you're so young? But anything is
Yeah.
possible. I really do believe anything is possible for Javon Evans, and I can't wait to see what's being written for him.
Yeah, yeah. But what's your thoughts on your looking at Brooks Jensen and how they're positioning him?
You know, I've it's an interesting angle. Since the stable with Fallon, Josh Briggs, and Brooks, it's
Yeah.
solved. What's next for him? I like the loose cannon vibe from Brooks Johnson. You know,
Yeah.
you don't mess with a man who has nothing to lose. You really don't. And just how he perceives everything that's going on and how his mind internalizes it. And when Josh Briggs was like, "What are you thinking?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Brooks is like, "Well, my job's on the line." I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, why? Why this?"
Yeah.
You know what? I like the direction that he's headed because it adds a lot of character development. I think that is good for Brooks Johnson, and I think it's going to open doors for him. I really do think so.
Yeah, I think so. I honestly think so too. I do. I think that he's going to be built in such a way. For me, it's really giving like Dean Ambrose before he signed with
Yeah.
WWE. So John Moxley, just
Mhm.
this loose cannon,
Yes.
me against the world type vibe, and it's people can relate to that. There's something there with Brooks Jensen that I think he can be he can be a vile heel or he
Hmm.
can be that guy from the very bottom that people can
Right.
kind of relate to and get behind. So there's different lanes with him I think he can
He's
take.
gonna garner that sympathy from the viewership,
Yeah. Yeah.
no matter what. Even though it's Jensen versus Jensen,
Yep.
you are going to elicit emotion for him, no matter what happens.
I think it's quickly coming. I
It
think
is.
I think it is quickly coming. Um I mean, so much going on with this NXT women's division. I mean, we saw the situation with Tatum Paxley and Wendy Chu. And we saw Tatum actually win last night with that psycho trap. We talked a little bit about that. It was like, what was that? I didn't even
I actually looked it up,
yeah.
and it was something quite elaborate. It had 4 different technical names for it. It was like a spinning heel hook thing. I don't even remember. It was just, but when I saw it, I'm like, what is that? That
Yeah.
looked impactful. Like, I never want to be the recipient of that type of move right there. But I really, really like Tatum Paxley. She reminds me of I don't even know, but she reminds me of Emily the Strange. She really
Okay.
does.
Okay. She was giving Daphne to me, like Daphne from TNA.
Yes, I can see it. I can see it 100%.
I wonder
And
where this direction is going to go with her and Wendy Chu though, who's
mhm,
gone to a more darker character now.
yeah, like I feel like what I perceived last night. Tatum has her dolls that she likes to play with,
Yeah.
and that comes from a huge point of obsession. But Wendy Chu is even more obsessed with Tatum Paxley.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's going to be some sort of union between these
Right.
two, and I think that it could be good for both of them.
Mhm.
Wendy Chu, like I I like the pivot for her because I think that the sleepy, tired character that likes to nap and stuff like that, there's a very, very low ceiling on something like that.
Mhm.
And it's not that you don't need lower card people or mid card people, but I feel like if you're there, like you're at least trying to be a top person, you know? So like if that
Mhm.
was the case and it was just a thing like, hey, you're just doing what we're asking you to do. And she played that sleepy character to about, you know, the best of her ability, but now they're pivoting with it. And I
Mhm.
think it's good for her. I do. Um, Staying with the women's division though, I mean, I think me and you have both raved about Lola Vice. Um, I just I think she's ready. I almost feel like as much as I would like to see her win the NXT Women's Championship, I really feel like that if you wanted to just bring her up, like I'm
I don't
fine
think
with that too.
I don't
I
think she
think
needs it.
yeah, I think she's ready for that. There's something striking about Lola Vice that is just she knows who she is. She's
Mhm.
confident in her abilities. She's confident in what she does. You know, she has a legitimate MMA background, and like she feels like a star. And I think you kind of feel the same way with Lola Vice too.
I'm gonna give Carmen Petrovich her flowers, but I think Lola Vice has had the best MMA to wrestling crossover that I've seen.
Yeah,
Like her
yeah,
kicks are smooth. She honors her martial art and she can tell a damn good story. And that's I'm really excited for Lola Vice because she's going to do amazing things. She really, really, really is.
yeah. I love it. I enjoy it. It was a good NXT. I thought it flowed good. They have their big show that's going to be coming up. I think it's going to be the Great American Bash, which is a
Yep.
2 week event. I think
Yep.
that yeah, it's a 2 week event.
Yes, it is.
Um, so that's going to be great. But you know, we're gonna have to slide out of here soon. But I do want to get your thoughts on Obafemi. Obafemi is somebody who me and the fellas have talked about a lot. And when we see Obafemi, we see somebody that like you can really position as a top guy. I could see him fighting for championships in about 2 years on the main roster, maybe sooner than that. I'm just kind of being generous. But he's somebody who has really grown in a way that I think he's somebody you should pay attention to. What do you think about Obafemi when you see this big guy?
I absolutely love Obafemi. I love someone who can exude sheer brute dominant force without even opening his mouth.
Yeah,
Like just the way he emotes, just the look in his eyes. Like Duke Hudson looks scared. He
yeah.
really did. Like he should have wore his brown pants. He really should have. He really should have.
Yes.
But you know, I think Duke looked really strong last night. I mean, he hit a stratisfaction. That I did not anticipate that from Duke Hudson. And the running hurricanrana, wild, wild. But
Yes.
Oba, just when he walks out to his entrance music, which is a banger, by the way, it really does. Like he's jamming the whole time, but he just has such power, but that you just can't help but respect.
Yeah.
And I really do. He's going to be in the title picture easily within the next year and a half, I feel.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I also want to bring up real quick, just because I just feel like it's a good thing. I want to talk Michin really, really quick. Michin, she was in the tag it was the OC versus
Yep.
Out the Mud
Yep.
sixth tag. I want to talk about Michin because I'm very, very intrigued with how they're utilizing her. We're seeing her now getting back with the OC on
Mhm.
NXT. She's
Mhm.
also being featured on SmackDown as well, wielding a kendo stick and just being a badass. We had a conversation about Michin on this show before, but I want to
Mhm.
get your thoughts on the very unique booking of Michin because I'm liking her presentation. She seems like she could pop up anywhere right now.
Right. You give her something and she's gonna hit it out of the park. She has the look, she has the talent, she has the finesse. She and her She against Jada last night, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I I really love what she does for the talent. You know, she is no stranger to holding any championship. Like, I feel like she'll be in that picture again soon, but she definitely is a force to be reckoned with, and she has honestly my utmost respect. I really love Michin.
Yeah.
Anything that she's down. She's down for anything. She
Yeah.
really is.
I like that vibe about her. Once again, she's someone that I think could pop up anywhere. I think that
Yeah.
she's been uniquely used, and I'm really enjoying it. Just like I enjoyed this episode here of In Your House, we broke down everything Monday Night Raw, NXT, and it was a fun episode. I think this went really well. I think that you're really talented at what you do, and we're happy to have you again and do this again. So with that being said, I always love to give. I would like to say my guest, but co-host. Give my co-host here opportunity to plug anything they want to plug. So if you got any dates or if you want to plug your show or anything like that, right now is the floor.
Sure. You can catch me on Bumping and Thumping, my indie spotlight podcast featuring talent from the Midwest. We love to give that spotlight to people who are on the up and up. I just shot an episode with Rory Shield. If you don't know her name, you will. And also with Ricky Morris. These two amazing talents, they will be on a screen coming to you. I am the voice of New Edge Pro. I have a show this weekend on Friday. Then next week, I will be at FU. I am the women's liaison, so I represent the female talent. We will have our first female cage match, Fatal 4-Way, to announce the inaugural FU Women's Champion. We got Heather Blue, we got Ruthie J from NWA, we got Stella Buho, and we have the Mosh Pit Maiden, Max Rain. So, and then Divine Pro is in September. So, yep, all of these opportunities are coming up, and hopefully I will be welcome back on this amazing In Your House podcast because I had the time of my life.
Great. I'm happy to hear it because
Yeah.
I think the team's gonna keep you. I definitely like the energy that you bring and the insights that you bring. You're definitely somebody that's poised and ready for something like this. So like we're definitely gonna do this again and grow this moving forward. And hopefully I can catch you at some shows down the road or something, and we can actually get a chance to shake hands and meet in person and stuff like that. But that'll come in time. That'll be, step by step process. But right now I'm enjoying what we did here, and I appreciate you coming on, and we'll
Thank you for
definitely do it again. No problem. No
Absolutely.
problem. So you guys, that is Annie O'Neal. Be used to seeing her. We're going to do this again, most definitely. And you guys already know where you guys can catch me at. I'm going to be right here doing my thing here at In Your House. But on the 27th, I will be at Wrestle Arts in Indianapolis. I'll be doing backstage correspondence. That is going to be a great show. We're definitely going to drop a poster and everything here as we get closer to that time. And then October, we got some big shows that's going to be coming in October for House of Heat. But then in August, I'm going to be doing Emerge Wrestling, doing color commentary there. A lot of big matches coming. O'Shea Edwards is going to be going up against Paragon for the World Heavyweight Championship, the Emerge World Heavyweight Championship. That's going to be big, and so many more matches to come. Guys, I really appreciate you guys giving us the 5 stars, giving us the listens, the downloads. It's really been great. We've really been working hard to give you guys some great content, adding shows, adding dynamic co-hosts and guests such as Annie here. And guys, make sure that you go back, listen to our interviews with Misa Kate. Misa Kate was great. We had Eric Dillinger the week before that. This past Monday, we had Donovan Dijak, former WWE talent. This Friday, OVW's Big Zo. Then next week, we're going to have Bill Alfonso, and we're going to continue our Raw preview review show on Mondays with Grunmeister and the voice Josh Joseph. Wednesdays, we're going to bring you something here with myself and Annie O'Neal. And then Fridays, we have our Friday show. We're going to have our preview review for SmackDown. And Sunday, of course, you guys have been used to those house parties that we do at 11 a.m. We do them fairly early. But guys, this has been a great episode. Follow everything that Annie O'Neal is doing. Give her a follow. Follow her podcast. Follow everything that she's doing out there because she's a grinder, and we really appreciate having grinders here on the team.
Right.
So, guys, you already know it's Alakan House on all those social medias, IG, X, yada, yada, yada. You guys know the deal. But also give us a follow on Facebook. That is In Your House. Also on X at In Your House Pod. And that's HOWSC. And the W stands for work. So, guys, for Annie O'Neal, for the voice Josh Joseph, for Grunmeister, for Hypocrisy Jones, for the world's most dangerous podcaster paragon, I am Alakan, the Concept House, here to remind you to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to hop on this bandwagon, get on or get gone, because the household is still going mighty strong. You guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. Peace.